Okay, let's just say the obvious. The world of work is changing, and it's changing fast. Seriously, the skills that got us to this point, they're not going to be the ones that carry us into the future. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the absolutely critical learning trends you've got to know for 2025 and, well, everything that comes after. So let's kick things off with a number that honestly frames this whole conversation: 87%. Right now, a staggering 87% of companies are saying they either already have a skills gap or they know one is coming in the next few years. And look, that's not just some random statistic. That is a massive challenge for businesses everywhere. Which leads us to the million-dollar question, right? For every single business leader, every L&D pro out there, in a world that's just constantly changing, how in the world do we close that gap? How do you actually upskill your people to keep up? Because one thing is for sure, the old playbooks for training, they're just not going to cut it anymore. All right, let's really dig into this problem. We're talking about the widening skills gap and why this matters right now. And I mean right now. This isn't just a training issue, it's a critical business imperative. That chasm between the skills companies need and the skills their people actually have, well, it's getting bigger every day. And this slide, it just perfectly captures the massive shift that's happening. Think about it. The old way was all about these long, boring workshops, one size fits all, and you treat a training like this big, isolated event. But the 2025 way, it's a whole new ballgame. We're talking bite-sized modules, AI-powered pads tailored just for you, and thinking of learning as this continuous process that's just part of the job. But you might be thinking, does all this modern learning stuff actually pay off? I mean, it's a fair question, right? Changing your whole learning strategy takes time, money, commitment. So is there a real tangible return on that investment? Well, the data says, oh yeah, a big yes. Get this. For every single dollar a company puts into online training, they see a return of about $30 in productivity gains. I mean, 30 to 1. That is an absolutely incredible ROI. It's proof positive that investing in your people's skills is one of the best ways to directly fuel your company's growth. So the big question is, how are companies getting these kinds of results? Well, it all starts with what we're calling the tech-powered toolkit, which is making learning smarter, faster, and just plain better than it's ever been. Okay, first up in the toolkit, microlearning. Seriously, forget everything you know about those hour-long, soul-crushing training videos. We're talking about short, super focused, like 5 to 10 minute modules that teach you one specific thing. It's basically learning on demand, designed perfectly for how we actually work today. And why is it so ridiculously effective? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. For one, it just fits into your daily workflow. It's also mobile first, which is a huge deal when you realize 80% of the workforce isn't even sitting at a desk. Plus, it helps you fight that feeling of information overload and actually helps you remember what you learned. And if you want proof, here it is in black and white. Just look at these completion rates. It's not even close. You've got 83% for microlearning compared to what? A measly 25% for the old traditional stuff? At the end of the day, learning only works if people actually finish it. And it's pretty clear that microlearning is what gets it done. All right, next up in the tech toolkit is the real game changer, AI-powered learning. We're talking about using artificial intelligence to take personalization to a level we've just never seen before. It's about creating a totally unique, adaptive learning path for every single employee based on their specific skills, their gaps, and their goals. So what does that actually look like? Well, AI can pinpoint exactly where someone needs help. It can provide 24/7 support with things like AI chatbots. It automates all those routine admin tasks that nobody wants to do. And here's a really important point. This isn't about replacing human instructors. It's about augmenting them, freeing them up to do what they do best, like high-impact coaching and mentoring. And listen, this isn't some futuristic sci-fi idea. It is happening right now. 71% of L&D teams are already exploring or implementing AI solutions. Think about that. Nearly 3/4 of teams are already on this train. The adoption rate is just, well, it's incredible. Okay, so tech is amazing, but it's only half the story. The best learning experiences tap into what actually makes us human, right? Our need for motivation, for engagement, for getting our hands dirty. And that brings us to our next toolkit, the human-centered one. First up, gamification. Now, this is all about taking those game-like elements, we all know, points, badges, leaderboards, and baking them into the learning process. Suddenly, what might have been a kind of dry training module becomes this fun, competitive, and super engaging experience. It just taps into that natural human drive we all have to achieve things and, let's be honest, to win. And the results? I mean, they're absolutely stunning. Check this out. A month later, people who used gamified training remembered 95% of the material. Compare that to just 21% for the folks who didn't. That's not just a small improvement. That is a massive game changer for building skills that actually stick. All right, let's get even more hands-on. Let's talk about immersive learning using VR and AR. I want you to picture this. You're practicing a really complex surgery in a virtual reality headset. Or maybe you're learning how to repair a jet engine, and you've got augmented reality overlays showing you exactly where each part goes. It's the ultimate learn by doing, but in a totally safe, simulated world where mistakes don't have real-world consequences. And yeah, the retention rate here is, you guessed it, completely off the charts. Learners can retain up to 75% of what they experience in VR. And the reason is simple. You're not just passively watching a video or reading a manual, you are in it. You're actively participating, and that physical experience just hardwires the knowledge directly into your brain. Okay, so we've got the tech-powered tools, we've got the human-centered strategies to make it engaging. So for our last section, let's kind of zoom out and look at the big picture, how all these pieces come together to build something really powerful, a true culture of continuous learning. And what's the engine driving all of this? It's data, plain and simple. By tracking detailed learner data, organizations can see what's working and what's not. They can identify knowledge gaps, spot weak spots in their content, and then use that info to make their training programs better and better. It's this awesome continuous cycle of improvement. And it lets you actually prove the ROI of learning back to the business. But you know, even with all this amazing tech and data, there's one final fundamental truth we just can't forget. And that is, we learn best when we learn together. Learning has always been and will always be a social activity at its core. And in the modern workplace, this happens literally everywhere. We're talking about peer mentorship programs, internal discussion forums where people can ask questions, these communities of practice where experts share their knowledge. It's about working on collaborative projects and even just sharing a helpful link on Slack or Teams. It turns the whole company into this living, breathing network of expertise. And this quote, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? The only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay. I mean, think about that. The real risk isn't investing in people who might leave. The real risk is having a workforce that isn't growing, that isn't skilled up. Because at the end of the day, a skilled and engaged team, that is your ultimate competitive advantage. So let's end with this one. Simple question for you. The tools are here. The strategies are proven. The future of work is practically screaming for a culture of constant learning and growth. The only real question left is your learning culture ready for 2025?